Hey everyone, this one's going to be a little bit of an interesting one. I'm going to show you how to build a simple DIY vocal booth in your house. Sometimes we have to do this, we have people coming over and we need to isolate them and make sure that we don't get any extra room tone. The things you're going to need, pretty easy. You're going to need a couple moving blankets, which you can get pretty cheap on Amazon. You're going to need a couple mic stands, and these are going to hold the moving blankets up and create this surround. You could also build something out of PVC as well, but if you just have some mic stands around, it'll totally work. You may want to grab an optional light to put inside of this DIY vocal booth you're going to make, and you're going to need some of the spring clamps just to hold the blankets onto the mic stands. So I decided to do this in the corner, or sort of the midpoint of my home studio. As you can see, I do have some treatment on the wall, and I have some clouds that I've created before. But I started off with the mic stands because you're going to start with just the skeleton, and I wanted to use the entire length of the boom arm plus the full height of the mic stand. So I just have a couple here, and it's exactly what I'm going to be doing, is making sure that the boom arms are horizontal and that everything is stretched vertically. If they don't line up when they're tall enough, just set them all to the same height of whatever the tallest or the shortest of the tallest is. That sounds redundant or kind of counterintuitive, but whichever one's the shortest, kind of get them close. It doesn't have to be perfect. Then what we're going to do is we're going to use the crossbars or the boom arms to support the packing blankets that we're going to put on later. And we're just going to use our spring clamps to hold those blankets onto the boom arms and the mic stands themselves. And here's the clamps that I was using. You can pick these up at your local hardware store. Here's also some plastic options as well. I got a big pack of these ones for about $12, and the individual ones you can get usually for $1 each. They're the 2-inch versions, and I'd rather have a larger clamp than necessary, and instead of having a smaller clamp. And when we get to the packing blankets, it's easy. You drape just a little bit over the top, and then here you can see I'm going to square everything up and fold it over to get nice clean sides, almost as if we're going to be wrapping up some acoustic treatment. Grab a clamp, throw it over the bar, and it turns it into this nice flat panel that we can then move around because it's just on a mic stand. That's why we have multiple mic stands, to create multiple panels. You can see this is the second one I've done. On the front face side, it's nice and clean, and it kind of doesn't matter what the back side looks like because you can't see that. Here's the last one that I'm working on right now, and the process is exactly the same for any of your sides. However large you're going to be making this, this is exactly the size of these 3 mic stands. So just throw it over the top, make sure it doesn't keel over like it tried to there, and tighten everything up. And then exactly the same thing, just square everything up, fold it over, and get a nice clean panel. Stretch because you put your clamp way too far away, of course, and continue going forward. And there you go. We now have 3 good panels that we can kind of square off. And here's just a cheap IKEA light that I got a long time ago that has a clamp on it. And you can see I'm just going to throw it on the mic stand as well, just tighten it up, and there's our optional light. I had plenty of light in here as it was anyway, so it kind of was overkill, but it's also a nice little touch because I dimmed the lights when we got into the recording session, and having that extra lamp was just like a nice little added feature. Now I'm squaring everything up, and I'm actually using some of the excess from one blanket to wrap around the corner to make sure that there's no bleed or spill from inside of our vocal booth to outside, or vice versa, from outside back to in. So I'm just using the extra blanket to wrap around and encase myself in, and there I go, doing it once again. And that's basically to make your half or 3/4 of a cube. Now, I had a 4th packing blanket, and I didn't want to encase everything. So what I actually chose to do is create almost a roof, and I threw this over the top to help enclose and also reduce any reflections going up and down. Of course, you want to kind of reduce their left and right and front to back, but you also have up and down. We live in a 3-dimensional world. So I threw this over the top, and I just kind of clamped it down with some more clamps that I got just to create a roof, but you'll see in a little bit that I actually rolled that back because it did get, honestly, a bit warm in there. But that doesn't matter because it's packing blankets. You can move them around to however you need to. And here I go clamping it into place, but I put more clamps on later to be able to roll it back and let some of that heat escape. And because it was client facing, I decided to clean it up and just kind of fold the corner over and throw an extra clamp on there. Then came the part that we all know, plugging in the XLR. So you take the female end, and what I did is just slid it underneath the packing blankets and through the mic stand itself. And the mic in question is this guy, the Shure SM7B, and this is the exact same microphone that the remainder of the talent was using, and the remainder of the talent was actually recording in LA. I spoke to their engineer. He said that they were using SM7Bs. I happen to have one as well, so that's what we used for this session. Then, of course, you finish everything off, you run your cable however you need to, in my case, across my desk and all over my stuff, and in front of this thing, and watch out for that, don't break this thing, and eventually find the plug and plug it in. Okay, so here is the final product. We have our SM7 on a mic stand on its own, but then this is what it looks like on the inside. We just have some clamps holding the blankets to the mic stands. And then I've bridged the gap with the blanket to make sure that there's no bleed. If I need to, I can fold this out as a little roof for what we have going on here. And then I have a light clamped right here. So if they have a script, we can pin it to the blankets themselves. Or I also have an extra iPad over here and an iPad mount, and that I'll clamp onto the mic itself for any kind of script or vocal sheets or anything that you need to do. So there it is. There's your quick and easy DIY vocal booth with probably some stuff you already have in your studio. Or you can use some of the links down in the description to pick up some packing blankets, microphone stands, or just some of the accessories that I'm putting into this one. That's all for now. If you found anything informative, please like and share the video. For booking information, check out timflansbaum.com. And if you have a question, ask it in the comments and I'll answer it in a future video. Thanks for watching.